The Oppenheimer long answer represents a controversial response to the question of whether the United States should have dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki during World War II. Submitted by J. Robert Oppenheimer, one of the lead scientists in the Manhattan Project, the long answer presents a meticulous analysis of the decision-making process leading to the use of nuclear weapons. Oppenheimer begins by acknowledging the complexity of the issue, considering both the military and moral dimensions. He recognizes that the bombings resulted in the loss of hundreds of thousands of lives, mostly civilians, while also acknowledging that they effectively ended the war and potentially saved millions of lives that would have been lost in an invasion of Japan. To provide a comprehensive assessment, Oppenheimer examines the primary arguments for and against the bombings. He dismisses the notion that Japan was on the brink of surrender, citing evidence that the Japanese government and military were preparing for a prolonged and costly defense of their homeland. He also dismisses the idea that alternative tactics, such as a naval blockade or conventional bombing, could have achieved the same results without nuclear weapons. Oppenheimer argues that the bombing served as a shock to the Japanese leadership, forcing them to realize the futility of continuing the war. Oppenheimer acknowledges the moral dilemma of using such destructive weapons. He discusses the devastation caused by the atomic bombs, describing the unprecedented destruction and suffering that affected not only the immediate victims, but also future generations due to radiation effects. He argues that this moral dilemma was not taken lightly by the decision-makers, and they ultimately made the difficult decision to utilize the atomic bombs as they believed it would ultimately save more lives and end a brutal conflict. However, Oppenheimer does not advocate for the unquestioned acceptance of atomic warfare. He maintains that the bombings should be seen as a unique historical event, with lessons to be learned but not used to justify future use of nuclear weapons. He stresses the importance of international cooperation and arms control to prevent the further escalation of destructive weaponry. In conclusion, the Oppenheimer long answer presents a comprehensive and nuanced examination of the decision to drop atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It addresses both the military necessity and morale implications of such a decision, acknowledging the devastating consequences while also considering the potential lives saved. Oppenheimer calls for a careful evaluation of the circumstances surrounding the bombings, emphasizing the need for ongoing efforts to prevent the use of nuclear weapons in future conflicts.